Hey Harold, welcome to Vivid Virtual Days.
Hello, everybody.
Great to have you. Harold, I ask this to every speaker. Is there one key takeaway you like people to take away from your session you think would really help them with with the operations bridge?
So the one key takeaway is that Operations Bridge uniquely for the hybrid IT combines really the classical monitoring with the new AIOps monitoring, building the bridge for customers to basically move from the existing world, what they are very familiar with for many years from a monitoring perspective, and bridging into the new world. We do that for the environment, and that is addressing the new cloud environment as well as the classical environment, as well as the new technologies where we're combining, for example, in the correlation space, the existing rule-based correlation that everybody knows very well together with new AI-based correlation. This really allows the customers to smoothly move from one to the other solution, and that's the premise of Micro Focus, taking customers forward with us and don't do disruptions to them.
Awesome. So Harold, I just know from speaking with a lot of people on my podcast, they always worry about AI-based correlations. How much can we trust these correlations? I assume it's been done, it's been used for a while. Do companies need to build up the machine learning in the background to get it more accurate, or any tips on how to make it more accurate?
So we basically are getting in data from various customers that we're with. Those customers we then ask to get events in, train the algorithm as much as we can ourselves. But like with any automation, when you think about automation that enters our life, we are first as humans skeptical on those automations. So yes, I expect customers that want to get familiar with that automation and look into how it behaves. We're trying to describe on why we're doing certain things, how we're doing this. We're using a community detection algorithm in the correlation of the events as an example. We also allow the customers interacting with that correlation to basically say, don't do this again. I don't think that was a good idea. And that then helps to train the algorithm as it gets in. I expect that also to mature over the time as we are doing it more and more with our customers and training the algorithm in-house as well as with customers as they are deploying it.
Awesome. That's one of the benefits of having an awesome vendor like Micro Focus is you probably have a lot of customers, a lot of data, and so the algorithm probably gets more and more refined over time. So it's a win-win, I think, for sure. Okay, well, we have our first question. And the question is from the user wants to know, what types of data does Operation Bridge collect, store, and provide the ability to analyze?
So very good question. So we basically collect metric events, logs, as well as topology, and store that data and allow you to analyze this data. We have various solutions from an analytics perspective, where we're providing, as an example, log analytics, looking at all the logs and then being able to cluster those logs together and tell you which one are the significant logs you should be looking into. Taking into consideration metrics, understanding which metrics are correlated to each other, using for metrics things like automatic baselining and anomaly detection from an algorithm perspective. So really any type of data. And most importantly, we use topology or the connection that you have defined in your infrastructure, in your enterprise for these different elements to better understand it. Because at the end of the day, relationship of the data is important and relevant. And as much as we know it and have it in the system, we take it also and add it into the analysis. So really taking metric, logs, event, topology as an end-to-end solution to understand the data is a key value that we are providing in the market.
Very cool. So Harold, we have another user question. The user wants to know, does OpsBridge provide AIOps capabilities across public cloud and third-party monitoring tools?
Yes, so you basically stream the data into our analytics platform, either from our own data collection or third-party collection. We have own third-party connectors that collect data from third-party. We have an ecosystem of partners that also provide and extend that integration if you want to use another solution. And then once you have that in that platform, you can drive AI capabilities on top of it. So yes.
Very cool. So it also looks like it integrates with a lot of different solutions. Next question, they want to know, does COSO in OpsBridge support reporting from third-party BI tools?
So COSO stands for Collect Once, Store Once. It's our initiative across, actually beyond OpsBridge, unify the overall data lake story inside of our portfolio as we are unifying the hybrid IT management solutions out of Micro Focus onto a single common technology stack. And the question, yes, we very much so support third-party tools from a monitoring perspective. I was mentioning in the presentation a documentation on the schema. There is a link to a white paper on where you find and how you actually can do that. That same white paper could be utilized for any type of data exploration tool or BI tool so that you'd like to connect to the data.
Perfect. Another user question, Harold? They want to know. Let me make this bigger. Can you share some more about how you see dependency mapping and service modeling aligning with AIOps? Is it required? And what is the real added value? So
first of all, it's not required to have. So you can also work with the data without dependency mapping and a service topology model. You would use other elements in the data to understand whether things are related or not, maybe tags or other items. However, if you do have an understanding of a dependency, if you do have an understanding of the service topology, you actually get additional insight, which might be useful as you analyze the data, as we are looking into relationship among the data. It helps algorithms to work over a larger amount of data because it trims down the amount of things it should analyze and look at, and thus maybe find more accurate recommendations for you to look at from an analytic perspective. A simple example is we were looking with a customer, large oil and gas company from Europe. We're basically looking through the event stream coming in from different systems. There was a piling up issue over the event stream coming in over 2.5 hours, and we were able to identify how these things were related and actually mapping that together with the topology understanding in the operation project manager helped us to really understand with the customer the problem. Those are the type of scenarios which we are working on in order to train, understand, and improve our algorithms.
Great. All right, Harold, questions keep coming in. Next one is there any incentive to help OML customers to move to OpsBridge?
So we have introduced a migration guide and a lot of other assets that help customers to make that migration as smooth as possible. We have a roundtable introduced where we allow customers to actually go in, dial in on a regular basis and get information sharing with other customers, how they actually experience the evolution from OML over to the operations bridge. From a capability perspective, our operations bridge is really the next step forward from a richness capability in terms of just looking at the AI capabilities, correlation capabilities. Now you can configure and set real-time metrics streaming capabilities of the agents, so that you get a real insight into the information. Just to name a few innovations and new stuff that we have done on the operations level, also from an OML use case perspective to take it to the next step. So yes, from a migration perspective, we have created a whole ecosystem to help customers move from documentation to pages. And then once you move, there are a lot of new capabilities that you can tap into.
Great. So another user question, once again, has to do with integrations. They want to know, where is OpsBridge with the integration with APM tools?
So we're integrating into a set of APM tools. Obviously, we have our own offering in the application performance monitoring area, where we have our own synthetic monitoring, our own real user monitoring, our own diagnostics of the environment that is actually well integrated into the overall infrastructure of the monitoring solutions that we have, as well as solution set. From an AI capabilities, these tools that directly stream the data also into COSO, collect once, store once. But we also integrate with third-party application performance monitoring in the market, and can directly get the events from those tools, the metrics streamed into the different data stores, either from a reporting or analytics type use case. So those solutions are available as we speak, and we have on the marketplace a rich list of integrations that we are supporting.
Awesome. Another user question. They want to know, what have been the issues with the migration to OpsBridge, and how is Micro Focus addressing these issues?
So I assume the question comes from the OML to OpsBridge migration. So let me try to answer it in that regard. Issues per se, there are a few concepts that are different in OMI or Operations Bridge than in OML. If you look, for example, into downtime, as we are understanding an Operations Bridge a service model, we're updating actually the entire CI model from a downtime management perspective, while in OML, downtime was sometimes used in order as or outage, better we'll use the term of OML was used in order to suppress events during a backup or specific batch processing at a customer in the financial industry that was actually at a certain time run certain batch process every day, and then obviously the performance metrics of the agents monitoring the systems were differently during that time. So we used outage in order to suppress those events. Now the original downtime that we had in Operations Bridge was not tailored and targeted towards that. Ad hoc downtime wasn't there, but we have been addressing those elements in the Operations Bridge releases and added those capabilities into it so that customers actually can take concepts over, even though we have different concepts in terms of setting different policies, more AI capabilities that could capture this. We do acknowledge that customers are familiar with certain processes and want to continue using those processes, and as much as possible trying to adhere to those.
Great. And Harold, I think we have time for one more question. They want to know, you indicated certain criteria for success in deployment, including top-down executive oversight. Can you tell us more about what you see as most critical in making AIOps deployments work?
So what I see talking with customers is they're coming to me and say, hey, I want to do AIOps. But then when you're trying to figure out, okay, what is the exact use case you're trying to achieve, there is not a clear understanding on what actually a specific process typically they try to improve. Most of the time when I look at customers looking into AIOps, the understanding is that likely there could be some efficiency gain, there could be some potential cost savings looking into what the customer is doing today. And I think whether that is possible with AIOps or not really depends on the general, we call it in Micro Focus, maturity curve of the customers. We have journey to value workshops that help you to assess where you are on that maturity curve and then actually how to progress you further. Sometimes the maturity gain might not be AIOps, might actually be some additional automation like the customer example that I had in the presentation. But then getting very clear about what exactly is it that you're trying to achieve and what is the possibility in the customer to achieve, is that what we then can work together on in order to achieve in the next step and progress on the journey in order to increase the value.
Awesome session. Thanks again, Harold, for contributing to Virtual Days for Vivid. Before we go, is there any
Very
parting words
welcome.
of wisdom you want to leave the virtual day attendees?
Final words of wisdom. Actually, not good at this, but I would say, as I said at the beginning, it's really plan your journey. It's at the end of the day, take your steps forward, take what you have and evolve it further. There's a lot of value in what you have in your environment, moving it forward into a new world, either wrap something on top or expand it further is typically the best path forward.
Great advice. Thanks again, Harold. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye. Cheers.